Welcome to the Otome.com podcast, where we discuss visual novels. I am Lover's Lens.
And I'm Morik. Today we're talking about something dark and special. Sweetest Valentine.
This game is a dark twist on the genre and plays with our emotions on another level. And to help us explore this game, we're joined by its creator, Sylvan. Welcome. Starting directly with the important questions. What actually inspired the concept of the game and the dark twist that plays with your mind?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'll answer it right away. So, my biggest inspiration behind Sweetest Valentine are games made by Caron. So, I will explain a little bit about Caron because they made smaller games like visual novels and RPG Maker. And they feature Yandere girls doing crazy things. And I used to really like their games when I was younger. And I was really inspired by that. And I wanted to make one of my own with my own twist in it. So there's that. And I guess it's also the fact that I also want to show how love can change people for both the better and for the worse. I really want to convey that with Sweetest Valentine.
I do understand. I really like the concept as well. When I was a teenager, I used to watch Mirai Nikki.
Yeah.
And that's where I actually encountered Yandere girls for the first time. And I was like, okay, this is very creepy but amazing at the same time.
Yeah, I really liked Mirai Nikki too back in the day.
Yeah, I guess it started an unhealthy obsession with that kind of romantic interests.
Yeah.
That's the most famous example of that, actually.
I think so. I think so.
You know Gasai, the most famous Yandere back in the day.
Yeah, well, how to say it? She actually stayed in the genre till these days.
Yeah.
She's still relevant.
Yes, exactly.
I wanted to ask, can you give us a brief spoiler-free summary of Sweetest Valentine? What are the core ideas behind the project?
Okay, so a spoiler-free summary would be, you play as Aimee, or the MC. You can change her name, but I'm going to refer to her as Aimee from now on. And it's nearing Valentine's Day, and you can choose to go on a date, basically, with Ichigo, your childhood friend whom you love platonically, or Yuzuki, your crush and the quote-unquote perfect student. It's actually a pretty simple premise, but there's also been disappearances in your hometown, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with the entire story.
Absolutely nothing.
Yep, absolutely nothing, As for the core idea, I guess it's to subvert expectations. That's my main goal, I guess, with Sweetest Valentine. Aside from showing how love can change people, it's also to subvert expectations with these kinds of Yandere stories. And I also really want to make a story that I myself would obsess over. So Sweetest Valentine is born.
Even the basic concept of choosing between your childhood friend and a relatively recent crush, I really like it because it's like a test for the person. Do you prefer stability of someone who you've known for years and years, and you can kind of gauge how they'd react, or do you want to go for the riskier option?
Yeah. And with Yuzuki too, because he doesn't show signs that he likes the MC back. So it's truly 50-50. You either go for, we're gonna chill with Ichigo, or you just go for Yuzuki.
Honestly, I went with Yuzuki just because he didn't show any signs that he likes my character, and I was like, I'm gonna win this mofo over. I'm just gonna do it. Then a lot of other stuff happened, and I was like, maybe that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, I get that.
I have this curse. When I start playing on a visual novel game, I end up in a bad ending from the beginning. This is my ultimate curse. So I was quite shocked. I didn't expect the things that happened. I'm not gonna spoil, but it was a shock a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I chose Ichigo because I like safe. I like going. I thought it would be more of a predictable route, and then I got the ending.
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, chose Ichigo first because, well, of course, he shows more of a sign that, he cares about you and he kind of likes you. So there's a lot of people that choose Ichigo first, but then, a lot of the other stuff happened.
Actually, I think even on my first playthrough, I basically got a happy ending until the last scene. Until I think, okay, this is the happy ending, right? And then that last line happened.
Well, happy-ish.
Happy-ish.
It feels like you managed to cover the two types of people with one game, basically. So there's a little bit for everyone. And talking about making the game, I just wanted to ask you, are you making everything yourself? Like the programming, the writing, the art?
Yes, I did make everything myself, except for maybe the backgrounds and stuff. Those are royalty-free images, also the soundtrack too, because I cannot make backgrounds and I cannot produce music, so I just look for royalty-free stuff for that. But other than that, for the programming, the writing, and the art, yes, I do that myself, and it's a torture.
But it's a torture you love?
Yes, it's very rewarding. Yeah, it's just very rewarding. That's why I do it. That's why I keep doing it until now.
I can imagine getting a project done, the sheer satisfaction of you made this. It is yours. You made it from start to finish. It is your baby.
And then the community comes and says a lot of good stuff about your baby, and you're like,
oh, my baby is being praised. I'm so proud of them.
So actually, the game has a lot of good comments on itch.io. So
yeah, I was really surprised.
That shows that you put some amazing effort into it.
Thank you.
And speaking of which, what themes do you feel are the core about the game? Love, friendship, obsession?
I guess the core is, in the end, it's love and also obsession in a way. Like, as I've mentioned before, it's love and how it affects people. In this case, it's obsessive love versus healthy, wholesome love. Is it okay if I spoil my own game at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, just
okay.
Spoiler warning for anyone listening.
Okay, you can click off now if you don't want to get spoiled and play the game yourself. Okay, obsessive love in this case, Aimee and Ichigo's whole relationship thing, and we can also see the polar opposite of it, which is Yuzuki and Haruto. They have this really healthy and really, I guess, just normal love. And I think that's really interesting, just the way these two pairings contrast each other and how each character, shows the different ways to love the other.
Okay, so also relating to that question, how did you approach the mystery element around, pretty much everything happening in the game, starting with the disappearances and then the reveals coming later?
For that, I usually try to think about what the main event or the cause or what the catalyst is, what's happening there and who are the players, I guess, or who are the characters behind what's happening. And I just try to consider how that main event just shapes the other events as well, and how the characters are reacting to that event. In this case, I guess the main event would be Ichigo murdering someone and Haruto witnessing it. And I just ask myself questions like, okay, so Ichigo's main motivation is that he doesn't want anyone to find out what he did. And so what happens if someone did see him? In this case, Haruto, what would he do? And the answer to that just leads to more questions. Okay, Ichigo would probably try to silence Haruto in one way or another, but how is he gonna silence him? And, I just answered those questions continuously until it becomes this whole story and this whole chain of events that makes sense in a way.
I see. So basically you start with the character's personality and you decide how it would progress based on how they would react to a given situation.
Yes.
I kind of write in a similar manner. I do writing as a hobby, and whenever I need to do a character, I have no idea where the dialogue is going. I just, what would he say if this person told them this, and I progress that way.
Yeah.
You almost discover your own story in that way.
Yeah, I also do that. It's kind of fun. It's just kind of like letting your own characters talk, and I find it just really effective that way. You just kind of remind yourself like what their main, I guess, motivation is and what they want. And you just go from there. Like, you don't know where it's gonna go. You're just, just blindly writing it.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, I'd say it's way more fun than... I know some people cannot write a story without having planned out pretty much everything way ahead. But I cannot do that. I just find it way more fun when you go with the flow of the characters you've created.
True, yeah.
It's like reverse engineering. Like I can't speak. Reverse engineering. Okay, reverse engineering the character, kind of. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, your game has multiple endings. So some are tragic, some are hopeful, some are romantic, some are just a complete shock. I just wanted to ask you, what were your favorite routes to write?
My favorite one would be Ichigo's, because with Ichigo, I pretty much already know what I'm trying to go for. Like, I have an outline, and basically this is gonna happen, and I follow that outline. So it's much clearer and it's much less improvised than I did when I wrote Yuzuki's route, because Yuzuki's route is actually very improvised. Like, I have two main ideas that in the end I chose one. Basically the idea for Yuzuki's route is, one is that he's actually alive for his route. Wow, shocker. And you go on like this platonic date with him because he feels bad about rejecting the MC. And the other idea is, well, the idea that I've used now, the idea that the MC just kills Yuzuki and she's just, just having hallucinations about the date and stuff.
Yeah. That was creepy, but I loved it, but it was creepy.
Yeah, I went with that idea in the end because I feel like that's it's a little creepier, and I guess it's much more fun that way, seeing, just crazy things happening. Because I feel like if I went the other idea where Yuzuki's alive, I feel like that would be more predictable, and it'll be a little bit boring and slow because Yuzuki's kind of normal. He's just chilling, honestly. So, in the end,
I was most suspicious of him at the start of the game when the disappearances got mentioned. I was like, he looks like someone who could be responsible behind people disappearing.
Yeah, like perfect. Someone that perfect, that can be real.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the thought that went through my mind.
Honestly, I was more suspicious towards Haruto.
Oh, yeah.
Dead bird and everything. And I really love this aspect of the game that you can actually put anyone in the role of the killer. Like, anyone could be.
You don't know. It's like a police procedural, even the red herrings included.
Yeah. And also, I just wanted to mention about this twist with the main character actually having this fantasy with Yuzuki. I've seen that twist in a script that I read around 10 years ago when I used to be in amateur theater. So there's this the story about an author and a family that comes to him and is like, you should write our story. And he's like, why should I write your story? Well, this and that. And they start telling him his story, and it starts like a normal story, and then suddenly a lot of unaliving happens. Like, it's a criminal thing. And in the end of their story, it turns out that they were actually dead the whole time, and that they're ghosts, like a family of ghosts that's actually trying to say their story to pass it on. So even though I've seen that turn of events in another piece, I still was shocked, and I liked it very much. I was like,
thank you.
This is very well thought. Thank you for that. Like, I love the idea behind that. And yeah, that was actually my comment. And yeah, I think Morik wants to ask another question.
It's actually a follow-up on the previous one. As we're talking about shocking endings, what moment do you think in the story was going to hit hardest when you were writing it?
I think this would be a very obvious answer, but I knew from the very beginning that the twist of the MC being, just as crazy, if not crazier than Ichigo, would catch people by surprise. Because, well, I deliberately wrote it that way, and okay, this is a regret of mine, but some people did say that twist came kind of out of nowhere, and I just wish that I could have put more foreshadowing and hints regarding that, because in the story there's only one mention of it, and it's very fake. It's about the whole rabbit thing. It's very fake, and I wish I could have added a little more to just...
Oh, so she was the one that did it.
Yes. It's very fake too. I know, yeah. But she's the one that did that.
Actually, it makes sense now when I think about it.
Yeah.
But there was foreshadowing actually for that. When they got into the kitchen and the main character gave the cake to Yuzuki and confessed her love towards him, he was like, I do have a lover, and then this red screen comes, and at that moment I realized that something is off.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would count as a foreshadowing too.
It does. It's not out of nowhere. I was expecting a twist after that.
For me, I guess it was more out of nowhere because the first route I got was the one that I decided to go with Ichigo.
Yeah.
And reciprocated his love till the end. And in that route, the MC feels quite normal.
Yeah.
And then I learned about the other routes, and that's when I got surprised.
Yeah, I guess people who started with Ichigo's route would find that part a little more surprising because there's no hints for it. But if you played through Yuzuki's route, you would have an inkling that, the MC is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was very fun. Me and Morik, we were communicating throughout the playthroughs because we were actually playing at the same time. Dude, you have no idea what happened here. Everyone are crazy. Every single character is crazy in this game.
Meanwhile, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm having a happy life with Ichigo right now.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he got arrested for murder. Never mind.
Yeah.
And speaking of the characters, each of them plays quite a different role depending on the route. What were they inspired by any particular archetypes or characters?
Yes, they were inspired by a lot of archetypes. But so my main thing is that I want to support expectations. I have mentioned this before. And with Ichigo, I took the classic Yandere archetype. The one with the cutesy one, the one that's, friendly to everyone, but is actually, just crazy inside. And I want to subvert that a little bit. So instead of killing for, love and to make the MC look his way, I want to make him kill to keep that fact away from MC. So as you can tell, the reason that he kills isn't for MC, but it's more that he wants to, just silence everyone who knows. And with Yuzuki, I took the archetype of the perfect classmate, the popular classmate, there's a lot of characters like that, and they actually turned out to be a bad guy. They they actually like hide a lot of like have a lot of pressure, and they turned a little bit, I guess, bad, or I guess a bit twisted because of that. But I wanted to change that by making him like actually just he's just a guy. He's just a normal high school student. Yeah, he's just a normal high school student who's nice and
I
diligent.
honestly thought it was going in that direction. You mentioned it, having a dark twist in him. So you did a good job with that. It was a great mislead.
Yeah, and as for Haruto, I'm taking the archetype of this, the creepy stalker villain, this unknown character that you can't see their eyes. I want to take that and actually make him into basically the hero of the story. He has like maybe the strongest morals out of the cast, and he's probably also like the nicest. If I were him, I wouldn't even like help MC, like he tried to help MC, right, by like telling her that, oh, by the way, your best friend is kind of crazy, you should stay away. If I were him, I wouldn't do that at all. Like I would just say bye.
And also, this is like the greatest, how to say it, attempt to tell someone your best friend is crazy. Here's a dead bird. I'm sorry, but this is the last thing I would think about.
Yeah, that bird was like Ichigo's doing, because he switched. Ichigo was like, "Oh, you're trying to like give a message to MC by pretending to leave a Valentine's gift for her, and inside there's like going to be notes that explains everything." But Ichigo's like, "Oh, no, you aren't gonna do that," and he switched the back out for that bird. So yeah, that you can blame Ichigo for that.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah,
to me it was like, okay, thanks for the warning, I guess.
Yeah.
Related to the previous question, what do you think makes a great Yandere character?
For me, I think, every type of Yanderes have their own like niches and audiences, but for me personally, I do like Yanderes with great motive and backstory, because sometimes there's some Yanderes that it's just there for shock value, and I kind of dislike that, because I like characters with great and thoughtful backstory. So it's going to be like a Yandere whose head I would want to pick apart and study. But this is also very personal for me. It's also, I really like Yanderes who's very shamelessly a bad person. Like, I think that's the point of Yandere characters, right? They're there to make you feel uncomfortable. And sometimes I kind of dislike it when, maybe the author is scared that people are going to hate this character. Let people hate your character. I think that's the point. Just, if you want your character to be bad, let them be bad. Like, let them sin, let them do the nastiest things. That's what I think.
That's actually a fear I noticed in a lot of villains. I feel like authors sometimes are just scared of making their villains truly villainous.
Yeah.
That's why... have you watched the new Puss in Boots movie? Because people were very happy when the villain in that movie was just a villain and was very proud of being a horrible person.
Yeah, that's really good then.
Oh, there's a scene where he's about to shoot a puppy in the face.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He's so real for
bold.
that. Yeah, bold. Very bold.
With a baby unicorn horn he cut off from a baby unicorn.
Oh, come on. How bad he can go.
Let him be bad. Let's go.
Yes, let him be bad. That's what made him great.
Yeah.
He was also the funniest character in the whole movie.
I need to watch that.
You do need to watch it.
Me too.
All of you need to watch that. It's a great movie. The animation is so good as well.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the animation a little bit. It looks so good.
It's that amazing mix of hand-drawn and 3D that works so well.
Yeah.
You're drifting.
Yes, I am, but this needed to be mentioned. This needed to be discussed.
I have a little comment on the Yandere archetype in general. So I feel like Yanderes, they exist just to remind us how toxic love can become.
Yeah.
And it's a nice thing to have them as a reminder. Like, where do you draw the line, actually? When you love someone.
Yeah.
So this was a thing that I was thinking throughout the game. Like, where do you actually draw the line? Like, I will do everything for you, but
Probably murder and violence. Yeah,
Yeah.
those seem like sensible lines to draw.
Well, very healthy.
You know how people say to each other, I would kill for you. Like, this is a normal thing.
They should really put an asterisk next to that. Under the following conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talking about complex relationships, we chat a little bit about different routes and how different the characters are. And I wanted to ask, how did you actually manage to develop the relationships between the characters? I mean, there are aspects like Ichigo's love for the main character that stayed constant throughout the game, but yeah.
Right, so I guess the main thing that I try to keep, that I try to focus on is just keeping tabs with each character's motivations and just imagining how they would act accordingly to that motivation. So my answer would be a bit similar to my previous answer too. It's like, for example, like Ichigo talks to Haruto that one time, right? In Yuzuki's route, where Haruto is looking for Yuzuki in his class, and he meets with Ichigo instead. So, like, what would these characters talk about? In this case, Ichigo like tries to nudge at Haruto, so he would barge in the MC's house instead of Ichigo himself, and that's in line with Ichigo's goals and motivations. And how Yuzuki responds, how Haruto responds to that is also I try to like make sense for his character. Things like that.
You did a very good job, by the way, like building the relationships.
You.
Like, even though the game is relatively short, the characters felt very fleshed out.
Yeah,
so
I really
good job
enjoyed
on writing it.
Thank you. Character interactions are like my most favorite thing to write, honestly. It's just so fun.
I can see that. Like, it feels like it comes from passion. So, yeah. I think it's enough talking about the characters. We almost spoiled the entire game at this point. And I feel like it's time to talk a little bit about the gameplay and the design itself.
Yes, you did say earlier you've pretty much made the entire game yourself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about, I really love the watercolor feel of the art in the game. It's very cute. I want to ask, how did you make it, all the sprites, the CGs? What inspired the style?
Okay, so a little bit of fun fact. At the time where I was making Sweetest Valentine, it's actually like my first time touching digital art and trying out digital art. It's like my first few months trying that.
No way.
That's your first... you have to have had the experience with physical art at least, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not my first time drawing. Wow, that would be insane. But it is my first time like doing digital art. So I just try to find a style that's easy for me to do for the past how much time I would spend on this project. In this case, it'll be the next 3 months. So I try to find a style that's appealing enough, but also easy enough for me to do at the time. And I guess I really took inspiration from, other otomes, because I at the time I noticed that a lot of otomes have this like soft feel to them and to their art style. So I really want to imitate that so that I can, try to fool people into thinking, oh, this is just a cute, soft game, like nothing bad happens in it. Yeah.
you managed to do a good job in that as well.
Yes.
The whole game, I'm sorry, you can go.
I was gonna say, if I hadn't read the page in advance, I was not going to expect anything bad to happen in this story.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
A lot of people got deceived.
At least you have a content warning. That's fine. It's completely fine. If you have a warning, it's fine. And I just wanted to say that I like the art as well. It felt very, very soft, like for real.
Thank you.
Very soft. And as we commented before, your game has a lot of interesting plot twists, and stuff happens when you don't expect it. And I wanted to ask you if there were any endings or scenes that were particularly difficult to write or illustrate, or both.
Okay, so the writing part, I would say Yuzuki's route, for reasons I have said before, with me not really planning it as much and with me just winging it. But for the illustration, I guess most of the CGs are actually I've had a lot of trouble with a lot of the CGs, especially the scenes where there's action involved, like Haruto getting stabbed or characters dying. Also, I've had a lot of trouble drawing mob characters, like the police in that one Ichigo scene. Whenever I look back to that scene, I always just cover my eyes, just quickly. I don't want to see the CG ever again.
No,
it's not that bad. Come on now.
Yeah, thank you, but
it's pretty good.
It's like you're your worst critic sometimes, right? So it's not that bad. Like, people tell me it's not that bad, but when I look back at it myself, I just go, oh my god, I don't want to see this.
Considering the fact that it was your first digital drawing experience, I think it's completely fine. I didn't even notice that there's something wrong with it, or I don't know, it just felt completely on the right place, with the right style.
Thank you.
Don't worry about that.
So, the game has received quite a lot of love from itch.io. What are some of your favorite and most unexpected player reactions?
Honestly, the fact that it's kind of blowing up, it really surprises me, because at first I just thought I want to make something, I'll just throw it out in itch.io and just see where it goes. I truly only expected it to get like 500 downloads max. And then there's a lot of people like still coming in to play the game even until now, and that's something that's really surreal to me. Even right now, just sitting here and chatting about the game, I still really can't believe it, honestly. Like, it's still very surreal to me. I guess also some of my favorite player reactions, I wouldn't really say that this is a player reaction, but recently I've made a Discord server for a lot of my games, Sweetest Valentine included, and a lot of people there are really nice. It's my first time to finally like chat with some of my own followers, and it's been a really nice experience. They're all very nice and very creative. I've been really enjoying that.
Generally, the Otome sphere is quite chill, all things considered.
Yeah, they're
people
very
here
welcoming.
Yeah, they're friendly.
Yeah.
The developers, oh my, like, since we started making those podcasts, I've been meeting all of the cutest developers and people that they're passionate about their projects.
Yeah.
It is just so inspiring. God, thank you guys for existing.
And being nice to us.
So, since we talked about the comments, when I was looking at your itch.io page, I actually saw in a comment that you mentioned that it's your first game. You told us in the beginning of the podcast as well. So I want to ask you, what was the biggest challenge? Was it the art? Like, since it was your first game.
I guess every aspect of it is challenging in its own ways, but the most challenging aspect would have to be coding, because it's something that I'm not used to. like with art, I already have experience on it. Story, I've written a bunch of like stories before, but with coding, it's pretty much like my first go at it, and it's pretty much my first time learning Ren'Py. So I'm just trying to see like what does this do? You know, what does this comment do? And there's a lot of experimenting there, and I've gotten frustrated a lot of times because just moving one button is really difficult for me at that time because it deals with numbers. I'm so bad with numbers. So I just you know what? I'm just gonna keep the positions as they are. I'm just gonna like I don't know, change the fonts because that's like really easy. You just drag and drop it to the folder.
Yes, the bane of every artist, the coding aspect of making a game.
Yeah.
So basically, the challenge was making the game itself, right?
Yes.
How much time did it take you to finish the project?
3 months. 3 months, and
Wow.
No, but actually, I didn't really have a lot of other activities at that time. So pretty much I would just wake up, code, and like maybe do some classes if I have one, and then I just go to sleep. That's all I do when it was in development.
But still 3 months is a short period. Like, you did work a lot.
Yeah, it was non-stop working, honestly, to the point
Quite
that my
impressive.
hand was hurting at one point, yeah.
And that's why the Otome developers are so inspiring. All of you guys, like every single person I met is like, well, it took me 2 months to make this. It took me 3 months to make this. And I'm sitting there like, okay, it takes me 2 months to, I don't know, to
Get inspired.
to stop procrastinating. For example, I like taking pictures. Like I do photography as a hobby, and it takes me 2 months to stop procrastinating editing my photos. And here are the Otome developers just making a game. Amazing. That's amazing.
In that same time span, you need to actually find motivation to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah, no, that's so real though. I just happened to be really motivated at that time, but other than that, like usually I would be procrastinating too, honestly.
Well, are you procrastinating now? What's going on now? Can you tell us a little bit about your other projects? Are you doing something? What's going on?
Indeed, I am actually procrastinating a little bit because I do I make like other visual novels now. By this time, I think I've released like 4 other visual novels, and I'm currently developing one right now titled Coalesce. It's on the final stretch. I only need to draw like 2 CGs, but I've been procrastinating on that.
Cool. So you had your hands full, like, since you finished Sweetest Valentine?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just me trying to keep my hands full, and also the fact that I have so many ideas and also so little time. But yeah, I've been trying to make more stuff and experiment with, just storytelling and a bunch of other stuff.
What about Sweetest Valentine, though? Do you see yourself making a sequel or another game in the same universe with the same characters? Are we gonna see Ichigo again?
I've actually planned on... Okay, I'm not making any promises, but I do have some thoughts of making a remake, because looking back, there are a lot of things that I could do better, and especially now that I have more experience on just storytelling and coding in general, just everything in general, I think it would be fun to try and make a remake, but I'm not making any promises. I don't know, because I still want to focus on other things first. But yeah, I've also released a short comic prequel about Sweetest Valentine. I did plan on like fleshing that out, but I don't know when I do find the time for that too.
Okay, so we can potentially maybe kind of expect something in the same setting.
Yes, if I didn't procrastinate.
I hope that you managed to find your inner power now that you know that people enjoy your work a lot.
I hope so too.
Maybe you should start doing something about it.
Yeah.
As you're saying...
No pressure.
No pressure. We will be waiting.
Okay. Definitely not pressure.
I'm sorry, I'm just joking. Like, I'm not actually pressuring you.
I'm also joking, it's okay.
In the pre-talk, we mentioned the exclusive content question that we always like to ask our guests. You sent me a couple of screenshots.
Yes.
And I would like to comment on them a little bit.
Okay.
And tell me what's going on, what is this project about. So on the first screenshot, we see Makoto
Fujiwara, yes.
And he says, here's to another great day, we can do this. Who's this guy?
Okay, so I did mention about Coalesce before. It's my ongoing visual novel as of now. And the first part is released, and the first part contains chapter 1 until chapter 5. And Coalesce is basically a visual, I guess it's a slice of life sci-fi-ish visual novel where you follow the story of this one girl who seemingly lost her memories and is also seemingly a subject of human experimentation, and she's just trying to figure out like what's happening and like why is she in this position and going through her past and whatnot. And in that screenshot, it's one of the researchers, and I will not say more because that is in part 2.
Okay, no spoil.
Okay.
Yep.
What about the second screenshot? There's a guy in, like, now when you said human experiments, I can understand the background.
Yes. So, yeah, and that second screenshot is just to showcase, I guess it's to showcase more of the game. That screenshot is actually inside part 1, so I can talk a little bit more about that. It's basically the branch that leads to one ending. That's pretty much it.
Okay. And there's a CG that's quite interesting. Like, there's a robot and a person and another person. That's the third screenshot we got.
Yeah, so that's a sketch for an upcoming project that I'm already currently thinking of. It's going to be, if you go to my itch.io page, you can see the title already. I already revealed the title because I'm impatient and I like to work on other projects even when my current project is not completed yet. That project is titled Skin Deep Ligature, and it's basically a BL visual novel. Like, that's maybe all I can say about it right now.
You have quite interesting concepts for projects. I love that. Like, original ideas. And also, just wanted to say that working on multiple stuff at the same time is actually helpful. Or at least it helps me. Because sometimes you get so tired of looking at that same thing day after day that you need just fresh air somewhere else. Dump your creativity on something else, and then you come back to the output and you're like, now I have the mental capacity for you and I can finish you. So it is completely fine to work on multiple stuff.
Helpful even.
Yeah, honestly it's been helpful, yeah.
And we have another sketch of 2 boys. One is with red eyes, as I can see, and very classy clothing, and the other is with jacket.
Yes.
So what's going on there? Is this for the same project?
Yes, those are for the same project that I mentioned before, the BLVN. Basically, it's also another sci-fi-ish visual novel, and it's set in the same universe as Coalesce too. So, bunch of researchers and all that.
Okay, everything looks quite interesting.
A lot of interesting prospects in the future.
Yes, we'll be looking at your stuff, and maybe you can join us again for an interview.
Future project.
That would be fun.
if you feel like it, of course, no pressure, as we said.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think we're down to the final question. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I just really want to thank everyone here and you guys too for even, I guess, inviting me. As I mentioned before, it's still really surreal. I really didn't expect to even be invited to talk about my own projects. Like, people care enough about my project to invite me. Like, well, that's crazy. So I really wanted to thank you guys for your time and taking the time to just do this thing. It's been really fun, and I really appreciate you two for doing this. And I also want to thank the listeners too for if you're listening until now, that means you probably know me and have played Sweetest Valentine. So I really wanted to thank you guys for that. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it weren't for you guys' support. So I'm really, really thankful, and I can't say that enough.
It's very inspiring. I'm very thankful that you came to our podcast. Your story is inspiring, like, for real, and that's the greatest thing that we can receive as hosts. Like, a person coming and being passionate for their work. And that's why we invite people, actually, because the passion it's kind of addicting listening to people
succeeding.
Yes, it's very nice. Thank you very much for your time and for your effort.
Yeah.
That's it all for today's episode. If you haven't played Sweetest Valentine yet, we highly recommend it, especially if you love psychological and romance-driven visual novels.
And thank you very much, Sylvan, for joining us and sharing the story behind this game. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in, and until next time.